ever seen it.
Yeah, sorry. For, there are some difficulties with it. Oh.
Back up.
Yeah.
Yes, it's getting super well. You want to put that. She might be very.
Yeah. We're all sometimes, but. Family dinner. Right. Yeah. Well, yeah. We're gonna go. Oh, so, yeah. I'm thinking.
January. Good, how are you guys? Good.
Somewhere, you can always change these.
I'll go in. So I can scramble around today, Mike, I didn't get a chance to say hi, I moved my phone over to.
So.
Just out there practicing. That guy. Wants to buy that. Well, yeah, you mentioned your name.
Yeah.
So like, Mike did it outside. Let's give it out.
We're good though. Yeah, I think it's out of the early.
Nice to see you.
Yeah, thank you.
Mind the right spelling?
You are now. Gary just moved you out of spite.
Hi. Are you in yet, William?
In?
Who's in?
Oh, yes.
Yep.
Your daughter-in-law.
Oh.
Oh. When she got married.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, fine. Thank you for that.
They just.
I know. Yeah, here's the way to play Celtics. Yeah, like always. I told you. Remember Preston Mayhew? Sarah. She works in the concert. Yeah, we're still. We still have like 36. Yeah.
It's now 4:00. I would like to call the meeting of the Harbor Commission to order. Mr. Secretary, would you take the roll?
Yes, Greg Fisher,
Here.
Bill Brown,
There.
Ken Dowling, here, Eric Lindsay,
Here.
Bill McCullough.
Here.
And last but not least, we got Mr. John Baker here. So we do have a quorum. We do also have 3 members attending via Zoom. We have Lisa Nickel, Sharon Mahalik, and Gail Stevens. They're attending via Zoom. They can't vote, but they can certainly join in on the conversation.
Very good, and welcome everybody. The next item is the approval of the minutes from the special meeting back in February. The only thing I noted was that we had agreed earlier that the title for the seat that I'm sitting in would not be chairman, but rather chair. Gender neutral. Yeah, you're welcome.
And Bill, I noticed too that Chairman Bartlett adjourned the meeting in January, but I don't think he was in the building at the time.
Is that what it said?
Unfortunately, he wasn't here.
Yeah, I did not. Good catch, I didn't catch that. Anybody else have a comment one way or the other on the minutes?
No,
To entertain a motion to approve.
we approve them as corrected. Second.
We have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? All righty, next is comments from the floor on anything that is not on the agenda. Does anybody have anything they'd like to bring to our attention?
Quickly, our boats in the water, your boats in the water, Marine Patrol will start towards, after Memorial Day. But it is there, we needed, they actually took it out yesterday, got a few repairs that we gotta do to it, but, it's in the water and available for service.
Water pump working out?
Water pump is just got a little engine problem that we need to take care of, but in case there's an emergency out there on the water, we'll access it.
Okay, so we've got the boat, excellent. Anybody else? Hi, Tom, welcome.
Hey, Tom.
Hey, Jim. Karen, I think commissioner comments are good, Dan, but you have some.
You know, I was thinking about this, I can wait till the end as well.
Not chair.
I was approached by, a member of our greater community about the idea of dye tabbing. This is the result of her experience in California, Southern Cal, where, the town of Avalon had a mishap with a holding tank that was dumped, in the Pacific Ocean. And as a result of that, maybe other incidents like that, they required that all holding tanks be required to have a dye tab. That being, a way to determine that a holding tank has been dumped because the color would be quite obvious. And that maybe that's something we could consider looking at. So I subsequently talked to Kyle and also Mike Johnson and Victor to see if we'd ever had any reports of any incident like that in our harbor, and none of them had recently. So I don't think we need to spend a lot of time talking about it tonight, but maybe with some additional information I've collected, we could put a spot on the agenda next month to take a look at it. This town also has apparently a nice assortment of rules to protect their harbor and waters around that area, and that might be worthy of taking a look at as well. So I just wanted to throw that out there. I don't know if anybody else on the board has had an experience with any or seen any of that having happened in the area. Fortunately, we've been lucky enough, maybe not,
Yeah,
but
I think we have some experts that can weigh in the audience, but my recollection is that sometime perhaps in the 70s, the state of Michigan made it illegal to have the ability to discharge overboard from your boat. So it is not legal to have a boat where you can just turn the valve and drop stuff into the lake. I also remember long ago, there was some old gaffer that had a bumper sticker that said, "Don't poop in the bay." So That went around a long time ago. I'm not really sure that that's an issue. That would be a lot of hassle because there are a lot of boats. Hardly require them all to die in their tanks.
Yeah, but I think it's worth talking about a little bit more. So I wanted to put it out there to think about.
Just as a reminder, just clarify, if you guys can use your mics when we talk to the.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Just
Yeah.
for the benefit of the
Sure.
listeners on.
Sure.
Alrighty, the old business, Michael, you wanna weigh in on what's the status of the DNR reservation system?
After much discussion with the state, we did sign the agreement, I think it was back in November, the city council meeting. And for some reason, we didn't hear back from the state until literally 2 months ago that we've been signed and approved by the DNR. They've installed our Camus, what they call a Camus system, computer system in the office now. That happened last week. And we are live as of tonight and will be, they'd actually have a close on it until Monday. And on Monday, people will be able to start making reservations with the state system. I'm not necessarily looking forward to all the hassle that's going to come with it right off the bat, but I think that I'm not very computer literate, but thank goodness I've got some people coming back who are, so I think we'll be just fine with it. And I think it's a great way to give people the ability to say they're going to have a spot in Harbor Springs on July 31st. I think that's really going to work out well, so, and help us out in the long run. So that's the update on that system.
Alrighty, any questions, anybody? Cool, blessing of the fleet.
Hi, can everybody hear me okay? Am I all right staying seated? Okay, my name is Kristen Baylog. I'm the Executive Director at the Harbor Springs Area Historical Society. I think most of you I know, and I'd like to introduce Teddy Tam, our new Assistant Director. He'll be helping us bring the Ephraim Shea Works Museum online, and he's hit the ground running since January. And so you'll also see Teddy woven into the operations of our 13th annual Blessing of the Fleet. So I just wanted Teddy to have a presence at the meeting here this evening. And also just wanted to share with you the update. Some of the things that have changed. I met with Michael, Harbor Master, about the boarding and unboarding of the Blessing Boat Parade that I petitioned for at previous meetings. And we had a change of request in the packet that was in your packet. And that would be to board on and off at the main dock. The dock that we typically, I'd like to be the first reservation on the new system. We typically reserve. So I'd like to ask for requests to reserve the end space at the pier again this year, as we've done in the past. We understand that we're accept responsibility for payment of that, and we have a donor this year who will be covering that. So we're thankful again to our community, and we like to board and unboard there as well. And I've spoke to Michael about the logistics of that and how it can work. And I'm not sure how much detail you'd like me to go into. I've explained it in the packet here, that we would board around 4:45 and be disembarking around 7.
I did have one question. I read your flyer, and the way I read, like the second to last paragraph, it basically said you wanted that end of the pier exclusively that whole time. And my understanding was you only need it until you disembark at 5 o'clock or whatever time you pull away. And then it's free to anybody to use until 7 when you come back.
We
Is that
keep
correct?
it open for spectator viewing for the community.
Right.
So as we've done in the past,
But
and
it's
then
not
after
like
7,
reserved space.
Right,
Yeah,
it will
there
be
will be,
vacant.
there will be no boat there.
correct, it will
Okay.
be vacant.
All right, the way I read you might want to reread it.
Okay. I will. Thank you. I'll make that correction.
Anybody else questions or comments?
And I think I'm joined by Chris Chamberlain, captain.
I'm the captain of the boat. We can't run out of Ford Park this year with the Harbor Princess. The lake's we were pretty much on the bottom last year, and the lake's down about a foot over last year. The ferry boat will continue to operate this year out of Ford Park. It draws about half as much water as the Harbor Princess does, but, for some of the other events, I'm working with local marinas here for alternative options, but I was able to run a number of events with a larger boat with a Harbor Princess out of Fort Park, but there's just, I'm gonna be on the bottom this year if I try it, so.
If I can piggyback on that, we've been approached by the Harbor Springs schools through Tim Knapp. But you might know Tim. I think Tim's involved with the senior class. This year, they're sponsoring a senior party that they'd like to conduct. And I think Chris and I have already talked about this. They'd like to conduct it on the 22nd of May, again, using the end of the West Dock for pickup and drop off. And given that time of year and the situation, I think we'd be just fine to have them do so
With the princess.
with the Harbor Princess, right?
That gives me a chance to make sure the boarding ramp and all of that is all set up well before this and makes it that much smoother for the event later, and it's not busy this early in the season, and we're doing both events at a very reduced cost for nonprofits and supporting the community. Tim was one of the original people that helped get the ferry going 5 years ago and helped us connect with the community here.
Victor, do we need a motion of some sort or?
No, I don't think we need a motion. So as long as Mike is okay with it and you guys don't recommend anything different, then.
Everybody cool with the plan?
Thank you.
Great.
If there's any questions
Look forward
or
to it.
concerns between now and then, please contact me. Bill Brown is actually the chair of the Blessing of the Fleet Committee this year. So he would also be a source if you have questions or concerns. So thank you again for your support. We look forward to it, and we look forward to bringing this event into town for the community, and to have that visibility for everyone.
It's certainly gone from nothing to being quite a thing in a fairly short period of time. Well done.
Thank you. We are going to depart. We have an exhibit opening happening right now. So if you all have time, it's not just a Quillbox exhibit reception. Free for all is happening at the museum. So
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Chris.
Bill also volunteered his time to grab dock lines for the Harbor Princess that night too, right, Bill?
I'm a dock
I
line
think grab
grabber.
Bill right here, Bill Brown.
Yeah, not a problem,
Need somebody back.
not a problem. I'll be standing there.
There you go.
The only changes that have been made for the Blessing of the Fleet, given that it is a fleet, we're going to go ahead and orient all of the fleets from Traverse Yacht Club in the area. So following the Little Traverse Sailors will be the J70 fleet, the NM fleet, the Alarian fleet, DHRF, and Open. So we've also asked them if they've got them, fly them. That would be Burgess, but what we have. Should be a little different this year.
Cool. Alrighty, next on the agenda is the Harbor Master Building update.
Yep, so just because it's, this happened after our last Harbor Commission meeting in January, council did select a bidder contractor for the Harbor Master Building, Ironwood Construction. The final bid came under $1 million, which was about $1 million lower than the lowest bid we received last year. So that project is gonna start after Labor Day, and gonna run through mid-May, hopefully sooner, but that's the projected timeline. Council still needs to make a decision on how to split the money between the different funds, general fund, waterfront fund, et cetera. But that decision doesn't need to be made in order for the project to go forward. It's just something that needs to be, that decision needs to be made before we allocate the money for the project during the budget season. So, so that will come forward later this year, probably this summer. We'll probably go to council for that question. Next, we had talked about this before, but we will send a notice to the voters, those that have slips and worries that the Harbor Master Building will be closed starting Labor Day. They'll get that letter probably sometime in early August, hopefully, to let them know that will be closed, the bathrooms will be closed, and give them some direction on where they can go to the bathrooms if they. For the public, same thing is going to apply. The bathrooms will be closed for the public, and through at least October, they can use beach bathrooms or Fort Park bathrooms. And our plan is to keep Fort Park open through the winter in bathrooms. That building is heated. So we can keep those buildings open for people that are just visiting our waterfront or our downtown. That's the update. We'll definitely keep you updated with as the construction proceeds with any developments. Let's go.
One question for Michael, actually. Does the reservation system allow for you to annotate that the building will be closed? So that anybody seeking a reservation, they would know in advance?
I was just thinking about that. They can update the website, our part of the website, to say that we will be essentially closed as of September 1st. The transient voters.
So you'll be working out of your car? You'll be working out of your car?
I'm gonna move into Rachel's office.
Ford Park.
Not sure how that's gonna work yet, but we'll find out.
Alrighty, next is, renewal of commercial licenses, review and approval.
Okay, so the marine commercial licenses, permits and rules require commission review of commercial licenses in order to ensure that we are not exceeding capacity or creating excess congestion at Ford Park. Those rules allow for 5 sailing and fishing charter license. And also 1 license is available each for sailing and fishing. 1 historic sightseeing charter license and commercial licenses are subject to further commission review. So we only received 1 fishing license from Jim Spencer and 1 sightseeing license from Pier Harbor Springs, the Pointer. We also received 3 commercial licenses. 2 came in after I sent out this packet. So we have 1 from Ulster Marine. We also received 1 from Outfitter and 1 from IPS, which are our typical users at Ford Park. So I recommend approval of those commercial licenses because there's no different congestion or issues than previous years unless commission sees it differently, but I just recommend approving those licenses.
It seems to work pretty well the way we're doing things right now, so.
Yep, and the 10 of the rules again were, if there was 1 year where we received 10 commercial licenses, we would want to review those because that might be too many commercial operations out of the Ford Park. But right now we're at those 3 commercial operations plus the state the fishing license.
We would still be able to entertain other licenses, given that this is a special meeting, at our June meeting, that'd be correct?
Yes, but we in our rules, we put a meeting in May, April or May to give those people who apply earlier first dibs. That way, if let's say 5 or 6 licenses were given out in May, come July, we might decide, well, another commercial license, a commercial entity applied, but we just think there's too much congestion or something. That's a hypothetical, right? So that's why we hold this meeting in May. So those who submit for their licenses first have that first opportunity.
Okay.
So of the 5 available charter licenses, only 1 is being used at this time, is that correct?
2, the fishing license and the sightseeing license.
Okay, that falls under the same,
Yeah, so there's commercial licenses and then fishing and sailing are under.
okay, so
sightseeing
we're
are-
calling that like a charter,
Yeah,
okay.
Victor, isn't there another one application that typically comes in and that's Terry Meyer?
some years, yes,
Yeah.
but not every year.
Not every year.
And I think Tom Blank had a charter license last year, fishing charter, but I'm not sure if he's gonna be doing that same thing again this year.
Alrighty,
So I would just need a motion to recommend approval of the commercial licenses for Wellspring Marine, IDS and Outfit.
I'm so moved.
you need a roll call,
All in favor is good.
all in favor,
Aye.
opposed? Crickets.
Victor, I probably should explain if that doesn't look working because of the outbreak.
Yeah. John Baker is abstaining from that vote because he's involved with Outfit.
Victor, I'm involved with Irish Blue Top as
So then let's do that.
Okay, so we have to do them 1 at a time,
Yeah, let's do that.
because we don't have enough body, right?
Let's take Wellspring first. All in favor? Well,
Aye.
give it a motion. Yeah.
Motion to approve.
Yeah. Outfitter, let's do the Outfitter.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
and IBS.
Aye.
And Greg is. That's more complicated.
Cool,
than I thought it would be.
we'll follow the rules. I like this. This is good. Okay, next on the agenda, Ward, would you like to tell us what's up?
Yeah, before Ward speaks, we had one of these in January, remember, we had a request, that's why we held a special meeting in January for a bottomlands lease. We are seeing this because Eagle requires the city's approval, as well as the Harbor Commission needs, or city code needs to review that this lease will not infringe upon the free, safe, and orderly navigation of watercraft control area. So that's again, just like in January when we reviewed Little Harbor Club's request, that's why we're here as well. So, all right, well, you can.
Thank you. When I sold the majority of my interest in Wall Street a few years ago, I retained a small portion of property on the southeast part of the basin. And with that, the right to convey the bottomlands lease that was with that property over to me. That bottomlands lease in your packet, if you all have that, was part of a larger bottomlands lease that covered basically the entire basin area. And that had been going on with Eagle for a number of years. So, now I would like to go ahead and ask your approval to convey that bottomlands lease over to me from Wall Marine. So, I think that's about it. My application is in with Eagle, and so they're just waiting for this approval.
Do you have plans for any change in the way that particular area is being used?
No.
Okay, so this is just a formality to convey that little bit of the bottomlands lease that already exists to Wall Street Marine to your entity.
Right.
Do you anticipate a future need for that?
No.
No.
It's within the basin. So it's not, going out into the public. So it's always been, uses slips. And
No visible, no notable changes
No,
other
no
than whose name's on the paper.
Is that the purple area in question off to
Yeah.
the right? Okay,
It's the purple area.
okay.
Anybody want to make a motion?
I'd make a motion to approve as presented.
Also ask if there's any comment from the public. Just follow protocol.
Okay, we don't make the motion and then debate.
Amongst you guys, yeah, but we want public.
I'm new at this. Sorry, guys. Anybody in the general public wish to weigh in on this? Questions or? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion.
Bill,
So may I
Like I already did.
make a motion to accept as presented.
John seconded it.
John second. Okay, so we have a motion to approve. Recommend approval. I guess we don't do it. The city actually does it. Recommend approval for the transfer and the title to the part of the lease that Ward was talking about here today. As presented. Do we need a vote, roll call?
nope.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? We're good.
Okay, so.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a nice day.
This will go to city council because city council is for the Eagle permit, just like they did with Little Harbor Club. Word, you'll end up going to council in June. Yeah, same thing.
Do any commissioners have anything else they'd like to bring to the table today?
Right.
Yep.
Which hopefully will be next agenda.
You want to add that to the
Look
agenda?
through what they're doing and let us know.
You want that to be on the agenda for next?
Yes.
I'm okay with that.
I had one question relative to the Harbor Master Building. In the article that was printed, you alluded to expenses that were at the time not able to define at some point in time in the future, would you be able to delineate the architectural cost, the engineering cost, the whole thing into one aggregate number so we can see what we're actually dealing with?
Are you talking about,
Harbor Master Building.
yes, are you talking about, how far going back? Because we've been working on this since 2013.
I know.
So-
I vaguely remember that. So it's been a caterpillar ride
The
ever since.
architectural expenses going back to 2013.
You alluded to payments. You didn't have a handle on the payments to the architect for services as project manager, contingencies related to order changes, and the vast difference between Ironwood and the next recommended based on their write-ups. You originally said 10% price increase to cover any potential contingency. I'm just wondering if there's any more definitive detail as to what it's going to cost.
Oh, okay, I see what you're talking about. That was for any change orders.
Change orders
Yeah,
and
yeah.
the project costs.
Top of Park today, at this point, I haven't heard of any yet, so any increased costs compared to what the bid was given, of course, they're ordering their materials and if I have any updates to those numbers, I'll definitely keep the city. I don't have any updates to that, so there have been no change orders yet.
That's good.
Doesn't mean there won't be, the project hasn't started yet.
I think we're done.
You're the chairman, actually chair. You're the chair.
I'm the
Like
chair.
talking-
I'm sitting in the chair. I am the chair. Okay, I would move that we adjourn. 26.